To begin to make a pasta salad, you are going to fill your pan about half full with cold water, and then you're going to put it onto the heat. If you are used to cooking with salt, then you can add in just a small amount of salt into your water to flavour your pasta. If not, leave that out. You'll notice that I've got my pan handle pointing out away from any other heat source to make sure that it doesn't heat up as we are going to drain our pasta later. So when I go to pick up my handle, I'm not going to burn my hand. So just put that on, and that's then going to come to the boil, during which time I am going to prepare my ingredients. Once your water has come to a boil, so you can see that there's big bubbles right across my water, that is when I am going to put in my pasta. So I'm just carefully putting in my pasta. I'm just giving it a stir to prevent it from sticking, and then I'm going to turn down my heat to a medium heat. So if you're on electric, it might be, if your highest is 9, you might be on about 4 or 5, but you're looking at that middle setting. And with that, we should just get a simmer going across it. If you have got a lid, pop yourself a lid on and then put your timer on for around 12 minutes, depending on what your packaging says. I'm going to demonstrate a pasta salad with a range of ingredients today. I've got my pasta ready to go in once the water is boiling. It's about 75 grams for a person for a main course. You probably want less if it's a lunch. I work it on the basis of 2 handfuls for a portion, but it depends on what size your hands are. I'm going to use some mayonnaise as my dressing, and then I've got a range of fruits and vegetables, and I've got some cheese and ham, which is going to go in as well. I'm going to start off, and you're going to make sure that your ingredients are washed. And then to prepare your ingredients, so I've got a pepper here, and I'm just using a vegetable knife, and I'm going to use a claw grip. So we've got our claw where your knife is going to go down alongside your fingers to prevent you chopping off the end, and then you've got your bridge hold where you'll hold it like that and your knife will go underneath the bridge. So just starting off with my claw, and I'm just going to cut a piece off my pepper because I don't need to use it all. You've then got the pith that's in the middle, and just gently, you're always going to cut away from you so that you are not going to risk the knife coming back to you. And I've got my compost bin here. If you've not got a compost bin to put your cuttings in, just get yourself a little bowl to use. So just got rid of any of the pips. So using your claw again, so you've got your claw and your fingers are going to go alongside your knife, and I'm just going to cut that into strips that I can then bring together and then dice so that we've got it into smaller bits. The reason why we're using a range of fruits and vegetables is because they provide a range of different vitamins and minerals, and that's good for us to be able to maintain and protect our body from all different illnesses and make sure that we're fit and strong. I'm now going to prepare my cherry tomatoes, so I'm just going to turn them onto the flatter side so that they don't roll around as much. And because they're cherry tomatoes, they're small, and I'm going to use the bridge, so I'm holding it either side and my knife is going underneath my fingers, so underneath the bridge, and you're just holding it together and then turning it around, and then it's a bit of a claw to hold it in place, and then I can just quarter my cherry tomatoes. I'm going to get my cucumber, so I've just got a piece of cucumber and I am going to dice it. So again, I'm using my claw, so you can see that my knife goes alongside my claw. I am just using a small vegetable knife. For this, you don't need to use a big knife. It's about using something which is suitable to use. You could also use a butter knife as well if you have one. So if you're not feeling confident with using a sharp knife, you could probably get away with using a butter knife, but you might need a slightly sharper knife or a serrated knife to go through the skin of the tomato. So make sure that your knife is sharp. So you're using your claw and your bridge and swapping in between. So just cutting my cucumber. If you're wanting to add some apple, which might add some sweetness and crunchiness, you might just use part of an apple. So using your bridge, going through the centre of the apple. So I'll just use probably a half. And then you can see you're going to go down there, but you're going to turn it onto the flat side, prevent it from rolling so that it's steadier. And then holding your apple in place again, I want to go on a diagonal here, so I'm going to put my apple down and then my knife on a 45-degree angle, so that I'm then just cutting out my core. And then again on the flat side, and using your bridge, slicing it, bringing it together, and then cutting it across. And that then gives you nice even pieces of apple. I'm going to add some green beans, and I've got some frozen sweet corn to add into my pasta salad, and so therefore I am going to have to cook them and put them into with my pasta a couple of minutes before the end of the time. So I'm just going to top and tail my green beans to get rid of the ends, so try and get them so that they're all lined up, and then hold them together so you're gripping them underneath your claw, and then trimming off those ends. And then I'm just going to cut them into pieces. Trying to keep them so that they're a similar size. And they can then just go in with my sweet corn, and then when there's a couple of minutes left on the clock, so about 2.5, 3 minutes left on the clock with your pasta, they can go into the water. Then got a spring onion, so if you've got a spring onion, you just want to chop off the end of the root, and then chopping off some of the green tip. You might find that there is some soil down the end of it, so just trimming off the green tip and then taking off the outer layer. And getting rid of any of this slippy epidermis layer. And then you can either cut it in a round or you can cut it on an angle. Just give it a different feel. With my ham, I'm using wafer thin ham, so I'm just going to roll it up and I'm going to slice it across. So this would be like a chiffonade, but we're going to do it a bit thicker than finely sliced herbs. So you've then got your pieces of ham. You could use tuna. You could use smoked salmon, you could just use cheese, you could use ham, you could use any kind of meat that you wanted to go in it, or any form of protein. You could do some boiled egg going in your pasta salad. It's all about your preferences and your taste. With my cheese, I am just going to dice it. So I'm going to get my knife and I'm going to hold it so that we can slice it. So once I've got some slices one way, trying to keep it all together, turn it onto the other side and then cut it down and turn it round. And that should then give you some diced cheese. If you've got something like goat's cheese, you could just crumble it. But you've then got your cheese. Into that, in preparation for putting in my pasta, I am just going to mix some of my dressing. So I'm just going to put some mayonnaise into it. So I'm just going to put a spoonful of mayonnaise, and that's just going to coat and bind my ingredients together. So you can just give it a stir around and wait for your pasta to finish cooking. If you're not sure about your pasta, when you put it in, you're not sure on the timing as to whether it's ready, try a bit and see if it's soft. If it's not soft and it sticks in your teeth when you bite it, it still needs a few more minutes left to cook. Wait until it's soft to make sure that it's ready for you to put into your salad. I've got a couple of minutes to go now until my pasta is ready, so you can actually see that it's getting quite swollen as it's absorbing the hot water, the boiling water. I'm just going to put in my green beans and my sweet corn. We might just need to turn the temperature up a little bit, as the frozen corn will just reduce the temperature. So I'm just going to pop that in and pop my lid back on and leave it to cook for the last couple of minutes. Once your pasta is cooked and it's soft, take the lid off your pan and then make sure that you've got a colander in your sink. So you can see I've got it in the sink so that I'm going to drain off the water. You need to be careful, and you might need an adult to help you with this if your pan is quite big. And then you're going to pour your pasta through the colander so you're left with an empty pan. And then, because it's a salad, we don't want it to be too hot, so we're just going to rinse our pasta with some cold water just to cool it down, and then give it a shake to take off any excess water. Once you've drained your pasta and you've shaken off any excess water over the sink, you're going to pop your pasta in with your salad ingredients, and then we're just going to give it a stir to coat it and to mix and combine it all together.